Okay, I binged Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Part 3, and well, for starters, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen it. It's been out for like 2 days. I was gonna do something, but then I binged it, and now I can't because it revolved around when the sun went down. That's cool. I'm tired, and the series got worse. You would think, I didn't expect it to go good, because of course, like, she's like, oh no, I'm gonna go to hell to get my boyfriend. So spoilers ahead, clearly, because it's about this show, and if you haven't watched it, I don't think you should watch this, unless you really want to skip out on, like, the whole thing and be like, wow, this is dumb. So, first of all, first episode, she's like, I'm going to hell, and then she gets Nick out, and in the very first episode, right after the recap. And then, oh no, he still has Satan inside him. No way. Like, yeah, I thought we all knew that. Was it the first episode? I don't know. She ends up talking to Lilith, and Lilith is doing this and that. She tries to threaten them. Then they get Nick out. The first one, but the first time was like an illusion or something. It was her dream. She kept having nightmares. They're having the Coven people stay in their house because their freaking Coven place was destroyed. The academy was destroyed. Nick is nowhere to be seen. We're trying to save Nick still. We keep trying to think of ways to go to hell. She finds a portal to hell. I think it was one of the Dorian's paintings. And that was cool, I guess. They go to find Nick. They go through hell. They find a clay man who becomes only prominent later in the story. And of course he looks handsome, because that's how they all are supposed to look. Except he looked like Dorian Gray. So that was kind of weird. I don't know. I don't think they were played by the same actor, but they looked stupidly familiar. They go through it. They find the Theo's uncle that they did a exorcism on earlier in the series. That was cool. Except he was in hell, so they were like, oh no, we gotta help him. And so they end up getting all the way to Lilith. They almost get tortured because Lilith was trying to get them to die or something. She didn't want to give up the throne. They get to Lilith. She's like, why'd you try to torture us? And Lilith is like, oh, the old gods are gonna come here, and I need you to coronate me in front of everyone so they know that it's viable, and then they won't be mad, because right now, they don't know that Satan's, like, dead, and he's, like, in Nick's body. And she was like, okay. Only if you release his soul. And they got the flower that Dorian wanted, and then, oh yeah, give me Nick. And then she was like, okay. They get here. She tries to coronate her. They're like, no, we can't accept that. The beautiful clay man from earlier is like, haha, I challenge you for the crown, because Sabrina tried to claim the crown as her own, because she's like, I'm a morning star, because when she looked at Nick, Satan's like eyes took over, and then he brought her into the realm. He brought her into the realm of consciousness that they were in, where they were like wrestling shirtless for absolutely no reason. She's doing that. She comes out. After that, that's why she was like, oh, I'm gonna take the throne. They say no, and then she's like, oh no, now I have to do this challenge, otherwise I forfeit the crown, and this guy wants to freaking make the 10th circle of hell, and it's gonna imbue it into the mortal world, and it's gonna be awful. And I'm like, is it 9? And she's like, isn't 9 circles enough? And I was like, that's really funny. This new kid Robin gets introduced, and if someone's getting introduced in the 3rd season, they're gonna be an unnecessary love interest or some bull crap to help them get away with things in the season. And guess which one of those it was? If you guessed either one of those, you're right, because they're both right, and it's so dumb. So, first of all, I don't mean to say this because I don't know what he looks like outside of the show, but the guy looked freaky. I was like, this guy looks way too intense, so clearly he's gonna be the villain. And guess what he was? He was a bad guy, but not exactly directly. And then he ends up being Theo's love interest. And then it's like, oh yay, I'm valid as a trans guy. And that's cool, like, good for him. That's, what more could you want? I thought it was nice that he at least got his love arc, because he didn't have that. But there was also no point in giving everyone a love interest cycle. So, I don't know. What else? Oh, so, they're gonna have like a moon hair thing where they all imbue in the sunlight, and so they went and got the angel that finally became relevant. Remember how there was an angel in one of those seasons and Dorian locked him in the painting? That they're trying to use his blood to imbue it into stuff so that they can bask in the moon's light and use that as powers, because Lucifer's kind of abandoning them, and so their like witch powers are lessened. It was working. They meet some pagans during the daytime. They mess up. The pagans are like kind of animorphs, I guess, or they each have their own little thing. One of them, the main guy, the main carny, because this is like for the carnival, that you knew was gonna be clearly bullshit this whole time. When you saw that carnival, you were like, this is already ominous. Especially because Harvey just like stared at it and he was like, and I'm like, okay, this is already a bad sign. The pagans are in the forest. One of them's like a snake lady. One of them's, I thought she was like a spider lady, but I guess she just does whatever. She just loves animals anyways. And so they're all like really naturey and like love and respect animals and everything, because the gods they worship are from times before like the Dark Lord and everything. So they're like all imbued with like loving the earth and all this and that. They're like hippie witches basically, but not like exactly witches. They get their power from something else. So the main carny's Pan, like the god Pan, who drives you insane if you look at him. One of them's a snake lady who, I guess she's Medusa or something, because she turned people to stone. So I was like, what is the lore? What is the lore in this? One of them turns people into animals with their hands. Like, they had names that I'm sure if I looked them up, they would probably be relevant people in some kind of mythology or something. So that was cool. The carnival starts happening. It's cool, I guess. This is dumb. Rosalind has the cunning, right? And when she sees the main carny guy, she literally sees Pan, right? She sees Pan's face overlaid onto the guy who's talking to them, giving them the announcement. And then guess what she does? Guess what she does? You would think she would do anything helpful. And she was, Harvey was like, hey, Roz, what's wrong? You see something? And she was like, no, I just thought I did. Bitch, are you... Every time she sees something, she's like, no, it doesn't matter. I'll just hold it off until it becomes relevant. No, if you see someone's demonic face, you all know demons and everything is real now. So why don't you just say, oh, I think I saw this. I don't know what it means though, because, I mean, she did that before. She was like, oh, I saw us kissing, but I didn't know, like, what that meant. Or, oh, I saw, like, this person, I saw Sabrina seeing, like, in a really misty, foggy place, and I don't know what it means though. Hey guys, I saw her there, so I think maybe she's a witch. You couldn't think, you wouldn't, why didn't you do that? Oh, also, the guy who's Theo's love interest, surprise, surprise, he ends up being grouped in with the bad guys, except he has a change of heart, because I guess he was adopted, and he likes Theo a lot. So he's like, I'm tired of moving, I'm gonna help you guys, and guess what? Guess what they pull out of the dumbest, like, magic trick hat? It's like they just throw shit in a freaking top hat, and they're like, let's see what dumb thing we can maybe incorporate into our universe of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And they pull out a hobgoblin. Why? What? Where did it occur to them to pull out a literal hobgoblin? And, oh my god. And his quirk is, he's super fast. Wow. What does that mean? It helps them later. It helps them later, so I guess that it all works out for them. But that's also like, that's so dumb. And did you guys ever watch, okay, this is gonna, on the Sci-Fi Channel, I love this show so much. It was Lost Girl, so good. If you watch that, it was kind of like that. Like, it had its prime in like the first season, and it was like, oh my god, I'm so interested. And they just kept adding things, season by season, to the point where like, in one of them, they just fought like this Christmas demon or something, and it was like, it made no sense. Or, if you watch Teen Wolf on MTV, it's like that too, where they just keep putting in shit, because for absolutely no reason. Because in like Teen Wolf, the first season, it's like, oh, there's wolves, and I'm the alpha, and you're the omega, and we're all a pack. We all abide by real wolf rules and werewolf rules, and that's a thing. And then the second season, they bring in this like, I don't remember what she was. She was like a freaking snake lady or something, and Tyler Haynes, Colton Haynes, I don't know. The pretty guy. They're all pretty in that show. I love that show. They were all pretty. I only watched the second season, so I don't know anything else that happens. I'm sure it became worse. But it's also like that, where they start adding things in for actually no reason. Like, well, that, for starters, that snake lady, who I don't know what she did. She just challenged the freaking wolves or whatever. And then how Lydia became like a screecher or something. What is it, like a siren? I don't know. She was a banshee? A banshee, I think is what they made her. They just kept doing this dumb stuff and just adding more into it, and then everyone had their own super magical power, and it was like, what the hell's the point? What is the show? And this is Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf, what are you adding in? Which brings me into how like the main love interest in Teen Wolf, the girl, like she also was like a wolf hunter, and I was like, whoa. And like this, you know, Harvey's a witch hunter, and guess what they did with him being a witch hunter in this season? Literally nothing. What did I say? What did I tell you? I'm glad they at least brought the angels back into like this thing, but then they were like, that was only a plot point for them finding Father Blackwood, and he's like, oh my god, the Celestials don't even matter. There's gods beyond this. And I'm like, what's the... So right now, they're worshipping Satan, right? I thought this was because like, the only gods that existed to them were like God and Lucifer. But I mean, I guess deities, because I mean, Lucifer's not exactly a god, but he's a counterpart. You know what I mean. I thought that was like, it was a monotheistic kind of thing, but I guess canonically in this series, there's every god is real, but just because they had a spell for Aphrodite. Also, Rosalind gets turned into a stone, right? That's a problem for a while, and then they turn her into stone. The Clay-Boyce who has cheated against Sabrina and like 3 of the trials to become like the heir to the throne. He ends up helping, has a change of heart. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember why, but I mean, I'm sure it was a dumb reason anyways. So he was like, oh, if you give your love for her to Aphrodite, like this polygamy spell or whatever, there was a proper word, I don't remember it, but like the spell is like, you give away your love in exchange for them to come back. So the person who originally made the spell, his love was crafting, and he sculpted this woman, and he thought she was beautiful, so he gave away his love for sculpting for her to be real. And Harvey was supposed to give away his love in general for Rosalind for her to become flesh again. And he kissed her, and whoa, he doesn't actually love her. Thank you, because I was like, this couple is the dumbest thing. And there was a point where like Roz had a vision when they were kissing where she saw Sabrina and them like almost having sex. And so I'm like, is this foreshadowing, or is this going to happen in the series? Guess what didn't happen? It didn't happen in the series, and then later at the very end, they're like making out really hard, and I'm pretty sure they're about to have sex, but they don't do it. And I'm like, what was the point of that vision at all if you're not going to do anything about it? There was this whole power move section, because, okay, so Nick during all of this, at least more than half of this so far, was just being a moody bitch, but I guess that's fair because he was, there was like PTSD from having Lucifer in him, so he was like shaken up about that, and there was bad things happening because of that. Like he was really, I guess he had PTSD, and it was supposed to be like, and it was supposed to represent that he was assaulted, I am assuming, and so that was like the whole take for the most part. He's being a jerk through all this. He just, at some point he's like, oh, I hate you, Sabrina, this and that, but he's like, I don't know if that was Satan talking or me, so I don't know if I can keep doing this. And then he just keeps being a moody piece of shit, and then he sees Sabrina come into the Clay Boy, and he's like, oh, I knew that didn't take long, like, I guess you were lying to me. And she was like, look, Nick, I'm not lying to you, I have never lied to you, so I, right now, like, yes, you gave up something incredible. Everyone owes you their life, probably, because you literally saved the world and you took Satan into your body. But you know what? I am not gonna stick around here for your narcissism and your conceit, because I have better things to do. I'm not gonna sit here while you just keep wallowing in it and just trying to make me feel bad for something that you willingly did. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, I hated Nick in this so much, and he was like, Sabrina, and she's like, no, save it, I have shit to do. And I'm like, thank you, because Nick was like so annoying in the series. And also, Nick was never actually a love interest that was supposed to matter anyways, because I was like, you're only adding him because he's a cool, mysterious, I'm also a witch boyfriend. And I'm like, oh my god. They separate Father Blackwood from Satan. Satan starts wreaking havoc. The Coven still losing powers. Father Blackwood's doing his thing, I guess. He was in a time a place isolated from time, so his like daughter and son are like 15 now or something. That was weird. But again, he's tapping into magic's beyond space-time. This show. the carnies, oh my god, the biggest crap. Okay, this is like in the last episode or two, the biggest crap, right? Oh, also, they killed Aunt Hilda at some point because she turned into a spider because one of the pagans turned her into a spider. And then Zelda killed her, but then she was like, oh, I'm just gonna bury her in the pit of Cain, or whatever that pit is, to bring her back to life. And so guess what happens next? Sabrina. Okay, right before that part. Okay, so Prudence gets killed by Father Blackwood. The voodoo lady who was helping them, she, I guess, gets killed too. Zelda was between life and death because Miss Wardwell, the actual teacher, shot her and she started dying and she was in limbo and they're like, oh, we're gonna help her. But then she gets visited by Edward, her met with Hilda, and they're both in limbo. Hilda doesn't come back. And as soon as Zelda comes back, she gets killed by Father Blackwood, right? And so we didn't know Hilda didn't come back. We were just like, what happened? And then I think the episode ended, I don't know. Guess what they pull next? Oh, I remember. Okay, so the thing that happens is every now and then when it's completely irrelevant, they go back to the competition that Sabrina is having for the throne. And it's so dumb. They have spent like 50 freaking minutes on this random crap. And I'm like, I genuinely want to know what's happening with the competition. Please, you cannot be holding it off this long. It is a hell thing. You can't just... So, Clay, she's getting Judas's 30 silver pieces. That happens. He's like, oh, let me hold him one last time. And then, boom, it's actually the guy, Cornelius something. His name starts with a C, I think. The Clay guy. That's, C because Clay. I don't know. It's actually him in a... I forget the word. He has a spell where it makes him look better, or look at something else. He switches places with her. Like, he says a spell, they switch places. Now she's in stone, she can't get out, he turns her to stone. That's the end of the episode, I think it was. And then the next episode has like this whole recap, and she's like, oh, this is, the cousin talking. He's like, oh, years passed, decades passed, the pagans won. They had their earthly green man take over, and then the king of hell now the boy who won the competition tried to overtake Earth and make it the 10th circle of hell, but the pagans won. And then, like, I think everyone was dead, basically. And then they pull the biggest crap. This show's so dumb. So Sabrina comes up to stone Sabrina and undoes her, right? And she's like, oh my gosh, what happened? And she's like, I'm here to help you. And she's like, who are you? And she's like, I'm you. And you're like, I wasn't even like, oh my god, how's this happening? I was like, are you kidding me? This is the dumbest... Like, if you have to resort to time skips to save your plot, just admit your plot sucks. Time Sabrina helps Sabrina, and she gets her out. And she's like, okay, but to complete the time loop, you have to come back here and help me out of this stone again. So she sends her back in time, and they're like trying to redo stuff. But this Sabrina, she's like, she's doing everything. She's going exactly to where the things that happen to people happen. And she wakes up, she goes to where Prudence is, and she's like, okay, take Zelda out of here. She's gonna die. We need to resurrect Hilda because she never resurrects in the future, which is crazy. But which is weird because Zelda had this vision where they were both at her deathbed, and then they were like, Hilda was an old person. So she was like, what? But I saw this and that. They have to get all the witches out of freaking the academy because Father Blackwood's gonna come and kill them because he has the help of the pagans now. So she's going back in time, stopping like every single thing that was gonna make what happened from happening. And then, I don't remember what it was. I think the whole episode was just her going through this post-apocalyptic world. She runs into her cousin again, because somehow there's some survivors. I think he was like genuinely the only survivor that wasn't a bad guy. He helps her. He still has the time egg, because he's like, the last word that she whispered to me, that Prudence whispered to me, was keep the time egg away from Blackwood. And so, I guess he did. And he was like, she died in my arms, I'm so sad. And I'm like, okay, but she sucked. She literally sucked. I don't get why they gave him that love interest when she was literally nothing but crap with Sabrina. I guess he doesn't have to care, but like you would think he would. They're just like, oh, two handsome black people, let's just put them together. Stupid. Stupid. Because that added nothing to the plot ever. That didn't make Prudence want to help more. Like, it didn't do anything. Oh, God. The time egg. And she's like, oh, other Sabrina had me have become the Queen of the Throne, because I have the 3 pieces now. Or I have 2 out of 3, and so that makes me Queen. So now I have all 3 pieces, technically, because I own them now, because I'm Queen of Hell. And so, with these pieces in this bag, if we tie it, and if we extract its power into, with the egg that goes beyond space-time, then we'll be fine. Right? I can go back in time, I'll explain to you how all this happened, because it happened to me, and I can't explain right now. And so that she ends up doing all that stuff. She goes back in time, she does this and that, this and that, this and that. This was still while she's in the future, like decades in. So that's how she goes back in time. So she goes back in time, starts fixing things, everything's fine. And she's like, oh, sorry guys. Okay, so also Zelda finds a new god, and they all worship this new god, Hecata, I guess. That was really cool. And they also have the, like, other witches that are really cool. Like, when you see the other witches, it's cool. Like, they're just, like, wayward witches, like the Grilda, I think it was. The one with the invisible 13 children. She comes back, that's really cool, I loved her. And then they introduce other ones, and then the voodoo lady. Also, I guess Zelda's gay with the voodoo lady now. I don't, why? But anyways, where the hell was I? Oh, so, things are nice. They end up doing everything. I think Lucifer has the throne again. I don't remember what happens. But they're like, oh, it's nice that we have a normal family. But they're like, oh, but now you have to go to hell though. Like, don't you have business there? And they're like, oh, sorry, I actually kind of do. But I'll be right back, okay? Like, I do have just one tiny bit of business, but it'll be fine. And they're like, no, because this isn't just a summer job. You're probably going to stay there forever. And she's like, no, it's fine. I'll be right back. I got this. I'm Sabrina. I'll do this. She goes down to hell, and she goes to her past self. And she's like, hey, don't give those Judas pieces to that stone Judas, because that's not Judas. That's what's-his-face wearing the charm. Don't. And she was like, oh, okay. What do we do now? Like, are you supposed to merge into me? Or are we supposed to switch places? Or what do I do? We're like this time paradox, how does that work? And she was like, no, it's fine. I think, get this crazy idea with me. And she was like, oh, I think I just had the same idea too. And they're like, let's both exist. And I'm like, shut up. And she's like, wouldn't we, like, isn't that a bad idea? And she's like, my cousin would say, yes, it's a terrible idea, but I don't care, I'm Sabrina, I do what I want. She does what she wants. She did what she wants. Despite knowing that, like, a time paradox is literally gonna happen. Like, that's the only reasonable explanation of what would happen. And then they set it up for another part. Are you kidding? Just end the show. End the show. It is so bad already. Just stop it. Just stop it. They set it up for another part. I don't remember what the heck that part was. The cool thing though was that one of the challenges was to one of the challenges for the throne was for them to like do their due diligence as like Satan or whatever. And she ends up going through these phases of sending people to hell, sending people not to hell. She ends up permitting the first guy to not go to hell. It was so nice. I like that scene. They did something like that in the Twilight Zone once, but I guess, you know, I guess that's fine. It's been like 30 years since the Twilight Zone came out, so whatever. The part that I liked about that though was that there was this guy who was like super sweet, and he only was ominously shown. His truck was only ominously shown once, and then that became a thing. And he was like the main bad guy for that little arc. And she was like, oh my god, this guy literally extends his contract by killing children. And it was like a promise to Satan, so that's why she wanted to redo Satan, that's why she took the throne, and this and that. It was a mess. What did they set up for season 3? Oh, or season 4, part 4? They were like, oh no, remember how I said somewhere in the middle of the series that bad things are happening? Well, what happened isn't the bad thing. Like, there's gonna be worse things though coming. Oh my god, everyone, watch out, because you thought what had happened was the bad thing. The whole calamity of the literal apocalypse already happening. You thought that's what I meant. No, that is not what I meant. There's worse coming. There's worse coming. Shut up. Oh my god. It's because like they were like, oh, the old gods are coming back. What did the old gods even do? Like, they showed up in Greendale, but did they do anything? I want to believe that was still just the carnival people, but I don't. They kept saying the old gods and this and that. And I don't know. So I guess witches are powered by the moon now. They gave refuge and let the other wayward witches join the coven, I guess. Hilda's back. She's married. And they beat the shit out of the pagans. They set it up for another season. Because Father Blackwood... Okay, so the one thing that didn't happen, because Sabrina didn't do the time loop where she gets the egg that was Father Blackwood's that transcends space-time, so since she didn't go back and give it to other Sabrina to use in her loop, so they would just keep going. I don't get what the point of that was. Like, I'm like, why would I even waste my time looping if that just means I'm, like, it's just gonna be this confined space of time. If I'm still gonna die, and everyone's still gonna die, why would I care, right? Like, why would I continue the time loop? Because that just means it's gonna keep happening. And it's not like she resets into the very beginning of her life to that point. No, it's just like, it's literally just this season that she resets through. So it's like, why would I do that? I wouldn't do that. I would be like, fuck it, everyone's dead, I'm not doing that. Because she didn't do the time loop, the egg was still with Father Blackwood, I think it was. Or because she didn't use it, Father Blackwood had access to it again. So I think he's still going to sacrifice Judith and Judas, his children, his twin children that he had earlier in part 2. And that's why we're like, oh my gosh, the old gods are coming because he released it. And like, oh, Agatha's still bad too. Dorcas died and I guess they killed her off. Isn't she in Riverdale? I don't know. She reminds me of Lydia though. But so, the old gods are coming, light starts flashing, and like, what did we release? Oh my goodness. And that's it. Like, this was like... And I guess like if you're gonna show something beyond space-time and like beyond cosmic belief, then yeah, I guess you can't show it. But I'm like, you didn't have to show flashes of light that much. I'm like, I don't know if that's like a seizure warning, but I didn't see one, so maybe it won't cause a seizure. But it was just like so rhythmically, and I was like, okay, like that's... I don't feel like this is an ominous presence, especially because like everyone has plot armor now, where just whatever happens, they always find a way around it, and Sabrina just does what she wants, and it somehow always works out. Except now the time paradox happened, and so he has the egg, and time, space, time, celestial demons from like from the Cthulhu world are gonna come up. I don't know. This is dumb. I still liked it, I guess, because I like that witch crap. But, was it good? No, the story was so bad. Oh my god. If y'all don't watch this and aren't at any point like, this is dumb, I don't think you should watch anything ever, or never comment on anyone's likes ever again, because this is bad. This is bad writing. Also, oh my gosh, I forgot to say, it's this season is the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the musical, because they have like 7 songs in this, and I'm like, you didn't have to do that at all. I feel like this is becoming Riverdale, because again, it's written by like the same people, but I feel like this is becoming Riverdale or something. Like they just keep stretching it out, and they did not. Why did they have to do music in this one? I guess ever since that one part where she was like, masquerade, masquerade, now everyone's singing, like the witches in the coven sang, she sings. You would think, since I watched part 1 and 2, that video would have been shorter than this one. No, you would think this one, part 3, would be shorter than this one, especially since it's 8 episodes, and parts 1 and 2 total up to like 18. No, I have so much beef with this season because it's just got worse. I thought seasons 1 and 2 were bad, but it was a setup just for this actual catastrophe of awful writing. So, this is longer, and I'm sorry about that, because I know a lot of you ain't gonna watch a 30-minute video. Not yet, not yet. One day you will, but not anytime soon. Watch this at 1.25 speed, or anything. I talk a little fast already, so it's not gonna make that much sense anyways. But, you're not gonna like this. If you like this season, don't ever tell anyone what they're watching is poorly written or bad ever again, because you're terrible. And that's it. There's no proof. Arguably, objectively, this is just awful. Awful, awful, awful. Oh, wow. Also, Roz and Sabrina are cheerleaders for literally no reason now. Like, just so they could like sing twice or thrice and then use the coven to extract powers from the girls who were kind of a coven their own way. Shut up. Oh my god. I'm gonna put my Instagram there somewhere. Should I put my Snapchat? I don't think I want people to have my Snapchat. I don't have Twitter. I'll probably have to make a Twitter at some point. I'm gonna put my Instagram here in a sec, because that's kind of the one thing I use. I guess don't follow me on Facebook, because that's kind of weird. yeah, Snapchat is... No, Instagram's probably the only thing you can follow me on. I'll put a picture of that here in a bit, I guess. I used to put the writing in, and then I missed the last video. I didn't put anything in it for it. So I'll probably better up and just put a picture of my Instagram, like with some of the posts visible, so you'll be like, oh, I know what I'm looking into. I don't know if I'm cooler on Instagram or I'm cooler here, but follow me if you want. You don't have to, I guess. But I guess that's it for now. I have an outro now, so that's kind of cool. Bye. I'm sorry if you like this season. Good luck watching it. I hope you do have an enjoyable time watching it, because I did enjoy watching it, but it was bad objectively. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna go eat. Have fun. Bye.